This video is probably going to make a lot of people angry. But with the release of The Strange Tales of the West Volume 1 into Red Dead Online, I have seen a seemingly never-ending surge of videos and posts that all say that Red Dead Online is back, and that they just released the Undead Nightmare 2 update. Now when I heard this, I was genuinely excited, and completely shocked that Red Dead Online was actually getting a content update because, well, it's been so long, it's been, 4 years? But then, when I found out what that content was, all that excitement left me. The Strange Tales of the West are a series of telegram missions sent to the player by Theodore Levin, as he needs help to investigate the wild claims that have landed on his desk from all corners of the American frontier. Now, as a premise, it does sound interesting, but when I actually went to play these missions, I genuinely found it hard to believe that they considered it good enough to be called a content update. The missions themselves are not necessarily the issue here. Well, actually, they kinda are, because they are just pretty lazy if we're being honest, but it's more of the idea that we've been completely deprived of content for years, and in return, for all of our patience, this is what we are given. This. And I cannot believe how many mindless imbeciles are actually praising Rockstar for this update. Because it's been 4 years. 4 years, and we get 4 telegram missions. One for each year. And I just do not understand the hype at all. Because the missions, I mean, they're okay to an extent, and I definitely do understand what people have been saying about the difficulty of these missions, because they are tough, but just because they're tough doesn't justify it being worth a 4-year wait. I mean, come on. In another life, this would have been something that would be released between 2 major updates, just to give players something to do and keep them playing. But it never would have been considered or marketed as a big update. Never! I mean, come on, what are we doing here? And I cannot believe that people are so blinded by deprivation to the point that they think that this is an acceptable thing to do after completely abandoning the game for 4 years. 4 years, and all they give us are some telegram missions. So how are we as a community not just accepting this, but we are actively praising Rockstar for this? Just what? It's insanity. I don't get it at all. And is it just me who would have rather that Rockstar have not done this at all? Because all they're showing is that any time throughout the last few years of which they've abandoned us, they could have come back at any time and released content. They could have, but they've just chosen not to. And after all these years of completely isolating a large part of both their consumer and fan base, they can't even be asked to give us something of value, rather preferring to just spit out more regurgitated and recycled slop. But don't you worry, ladies and gentlemen, because the next Red Dead Online update will be the exact same shit with Strange Tales of the West Volume 2. And I refuse to believe that I'm the only one who sees this as a way for Rockstar to finally shut Red Dead fans up by giving them updates, whilst at the same time doing absolutely nothing. You see, there's a reason it's only 1 volume at the moment, so that going forward, when the next volume is released, they can once again get away with it with as little effort as possible, because for these new updates, all they have to do is release the same generic missions every single time, and then just label it as Strange Tales of the West Volume 2, and people will be losing their shit online, talking about how Red Dead Online is back, when it's just not. Because people just outright refuse to criticise Rockstar in any shape, way or form. And they just mindlessly consume every single thing that Rockstar shits out, and what's worse is, no matter its quality, they praise it like it's the best thing they've ever seen, just because it was made by Rockstar. And Rockstar know this, they really do. They know that they could genuinely add a new animation into the game where your character squawks over and takes a shit on the floor, and everyone would lose their minds, hailing the name Rockstar Games and how they've done it again. And look, at the end of the day, you can call me ungrateful all you want, but you can't change my mind. I've been waiting years for new content, but I'm supposed to be happy about this content that looks like something a modder could slap together in 5 minutes. It's ridiculous. And I really do wish that some of the bigger YouTubers in this community would use their platforms to call this out. Because there was only one video that I actually found that had anything negative to say about this new update, and it's from L321. But that video was more focused on how lackluster and difficult the missions are, rather than focusing on the fact that this is what we were given after years of nothing. But I really do actually appreciate someone else speaking their mind instead of just praising whatever Rockstar does so that they won't have to deal with people complaining. Because people are just afraid to say something that would be seen as unpopular and against the wider public opinion. They are so afraid of having people disagree with them. Because this is something that everyone in the community should be outraged by. But instead, they're all celebrating like they've achieved something. The only thing they have achieved is a state of complete delusion. They have been so starved for content that they have forgotten their own standards and fallen for the misconception that any content is good content. And I can't wait to see some of the comments on this video. But more importantly, I can't wait to see if any of you in the comments are of the minority of people who are actually capable of forming their own opinions, who are able to recognise the foul play that is on show here. But I rest my case. In my opinion, this whole update is just a lazy way to get people off of Rockstar's ass for not updating the game, and to assemble the herd of sheep to start the narrative that they do care about Red Dead Online and their players, which they don't. But I'll stop ranting at you. Be sure to let me know your thoughts, whether you agree or disagree with me. If you have enjoyed being angrily spoken to today, then like this video and subscribe to my channel. I'm trying to hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year, so any help towards that is always appreciated. But with all that being said, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next one.